Hey, and welcome to my channel. Today is my February wrap-up and my March hopefuls. Okay, so the first book that I read this month was Twisted Love. This is book 1 in the Twisted series. It is a romance and it has the brother's best friend trope. So our main character, her brother moves out of town and he wants someone to watch over her while she's gone, and so his friend Alex takes on the job, and within this they start to fall in love. There's a lot of other side problems that arise, but it is a romance. It was such a quick read. I finished this in like almost one sitting. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. Like, it wasn't a 5-star read for me, but I still really enjoyed it and I could not put it down. Immediately went and purchased the rest of the series after I read this book, so I did really enjoy this one. The next book I picked up was actually an ARC that I read on my Kindle because I was waiting for the rest of the Twisted series to come in, and it is Killjoy by Holly Jackson. If you've read the Good Girl's Guide to Murder books, this is the same author. And it's not out in the US yet. I know it was out on World Book Day in the UK, so people have read this book before, but I did get it through NetGalley. It is a prequel to the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, so it follows Pip as she's going to a murder mystery party with her friends. So they go to their friend's house and they're playing one of those murder mystery boxes where everyone has a character and you're trying to figure out who died. It's pretty short. It's a novella, and it's literally just them playing this murder mystery game, and they bring up the Andie Bell case a couple times within this, and this is before she decides what her capstone project will be. So the ending of this book explains how Pip decided what she wanted her capstone project to be, and how she kind of like came to the idea that she wanted to investigate the Andie Bell case more. And you see a lot of her personality, of her realizing that what she really loves to do is to fix a problem, and that she needs to constantly be thinking to be happy. So I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. It is a novella. It was a really quick read. I think I read it in like one sitting as well. And I'm really glad that NetGalley sent this to me because I love Good Girl's Guide to Murder, so I was really excited when they offered to send me a copy of this, or when I got accepted for a copy of this, because I've been wanting to read it, but it's not in the US. So, and I don't want to buy a UK version and it not match the rest of my books. So I'm really excited that I got it, and I did really enjoy it, even though there's not much happening there. It's just fun if you've already read the other series to kind of see like before and how she kind of came to terms with what she wanted to do with her capstone project. The next book that I read this month was Twisted Games, which is book 2 in the Twisted series. Again, this is a romance. This one is Bridget's book. So this series follows 4 friends. The first one was Ava's book. This one is Bridget's book. Bridget is a crown princess, and she finds out that she is now going to be the queen because her brother is abdicating the throne. And it is also a romance between her and her hired bodyguard who's supposed to protect her. And it follows backtracking into some of the events from Twisted Love, and then also the events after Twisted Love. We see all the characters from Twisted Love as well. Ava and Alex show up. We see Stella and Jules. So it's fun seeing those characters repeated, but this time it was Bridget's story. This again was quick. It was slower to me than Twisted Love, but it is longer than Twisted Love. And I still gave it 4 stars, even though I know a lot of people this is their favorite in the series, but I don't know if I liked this better than Twisted Love or not. The next book that I picked up in February is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This is also a contemporary romance, and this follows Yasmin and Josiah, who are divorced. We pick up, the very first chapter is actually like when they, like the proposal and how they ended up together, and then the rest of the book is post-divorce, how she is dealing with grief because there are reasons why they led to a divorce, and a lot of it is centered around her coping skills over a traumatic event that occurs. So it deals a lot with grief and like how they can co-parent for their children, but also they still have chemistry and they still have a spark there, and she's not sure if it's right or not, and if she still wants him, because she didn't think that was something she could do. Very good. I rated this book 4 stars as well. I read a lot of 4-star books this month. But please check the trigger warnings, because, and even with the trigger warnings, it's brushing the surface of what's in this book. It is very detailed when it talks about the trauma that she experienced in their marriage. And so just make sure you check out the trigger warnings before you pick this book up. But I did really enjoy it. I actually started this book before Twisted Games came in, and then paused it because I was so excited about that book. And then once I finished that book, I went back to this and I read the rest of this book in like 1 or 2 sittings. Again, it was really good. It had me hooked and I couldn't put it down once I got into it. And I think that this is one in what will be a series. I think, because on Goodreads it says Skyland #1, so I think her friends may be getting books as well. But I'm not really sure how that's going to set up. I think it is going to be a series though. Next book I read, I actually read this on my Kindle, because if you can see, it is like destroyed. Okay, there are pages falling out, and that's because I let a friend borrow it in high school and it's just like destroyed. So I had to download it on my Kindle because there are literally like pages falling out. The spine is like broken. Yeah. So I downloaded it on my Kindle and read it, but if you saw my reading vlog, I'm rereading The Mortal Instruments. So this is book 1, City of Bones. If you've never read these books, we follow Clary, who essentially finds out that her mom has been lying to her this whole time, and that she is a shadow hunter, which is this group of people who have they're humans, but they have angel blood in them, and they fight demons. Yeah. There's a lot more to it than that, but she basically finds this out, and it's her journey to figuring this out. Her mom goes missing and she's looking for her mother in this book, and that's like essentially how she unlocks all of this, is because she's trying to find out what happened to her mom. And some big things happen that just shock happens. But most people have read this series. I have not read anything past The Infernal Devices, so I'm rereading all of these with a friend in hopes to finally catch up and read the newer series. Then the last book that I read this month was City of Ashes, again by Cassandra Clare. This is book 2 in the Mortal Instruments. We pick up right where we left off. It's YA fantasy. Both of them are YA fantasy, and these are both rereads. I rated them 5 stars in high school because that's how obsessed I was with them. As you can tell, these are well-loved books. So I'm just keeping my previous rating. I'm not going to rewrite them because that's what I originally felt when I read them. So I kept them both at 5 stars. But this again was a reread, and it's just the sequel. There's a lot of books in this series, so I'm going to have to catch up. Currently, I am reading City of Glass. I thought I might finish it before tonight. I honestly might get a good chunk into it tonight, but I definitely won't finish it before February is up, so it's not on this list. And I also read half of Pride and Prejudice this month, but I did not finish it because I started rereading The Mortal Instruments. I was in a very large slump this month. For the first half of this month, had read like 2 books and nothing else. And Killjoy is like 200 pages. It was short. So I was really struggling to read this month. I was in a really bad slump, and Pride and Prejudice was not getting me out of it. I do want to finish it eventually, but just for now, I had to put it down. And that's why I started The Mortal Instruments, and I have flown through these. I read City of Bones in one day, and City of Ashes I started like the first chapter that night and then finished it the next day. So I'm flying through them, and that is exactly what I needed right now. So I'm okay with neglecting my physical TBR for now, just so I can have something fun to read for a little bit. But those are the 6 books that I read this month. Normally I average like 10, so it was a short month for me. But I'm hoping that March will be better since I will be on spring break. Okay, so here's the part of this video in which I tell you some of the books that I am hoping to read in March. There's just a couple because I made a huge TBR in February and did not stick to it. So I'm just going to give you a couple of books that I am hoping to read in March. So the first book that I'm hoping to read in March is Little Women. I am on spring break this month, so I should have more time, but this was my classic I chose for the month, so I'm hoping that I can read that. I also We haven't picked our book club pick yet, but once I do, that book club pick will be on this TBR as well. And I'm putting Clockwork Angel on this as well, even though I have a feeling I will just finish the Mortal Instruments this month, but that one I know for sure I will read this month. So Clockwork Angel, which is the first book in the Infernal Devices series, I definitely want to read this month. And then In the Lives of Puppets, I do have an ARC copy of that on NetGalley I have not read yet, and I need to read it in March. So that's going to go on my TBR because I have to read it. And then I'm also going to put Bunny on here because I think it's short, and I think I'll be able to read it because it's short and it seems interesting. And then the last hopeful I'm going to put on here that's like not the Mortal Instruments is Legends and Lattes. Again, it sounds like something that's going to keep me out of a slump. It's also a short read, so I won't get stuck on it. So I'm hoping I can read that one as well in March. So I hope you enjoyed seeing what I read in February and what I'm hoping to read in March, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.